City Show Radio. I'm Pat O'Melia, your host here on GGR. GGR is Good Government Radio. If you haven't yet, and hopefully you will, download the app. You probably have since you're listening to the show. Download the app at Live 365. You download the Live 365 app. There's a lot of programming on there. Then you just put in a GGR, and boom, there's our radio station. It is rather new. We're starting to really push it now. We're going to have the high school kids. We're going to have a medical show. Actually, it might be two medical shows coming. We're going to be doing one here for Hudson County with RWJ Barnabas, the Jersey City Medical Center. Call-in show, English and in Spanish. We're just picking the days and time. We're going to do town halls for the city of Jersey City with public safety. Yes, James Shea, Public Safety Director, will be hosting his own radio show. We'll be taking calls from the listeners in Jersey City, whatever questions you have for public safety. The Jersey City MUA is going to do a town hall, and they'll bring you up to speed on all the projects they're doing, where they're going to be doing them. They just finished a big lead replacement, replaced all the pipes, either replaced or bypassed them in the public schools. Huge jobs, and it's completed through all the schools. Great job by the JC MUA, and I think Guarini Plumbing did most of it, or all of those projects. Good job by everybody involved. There's a lot of programming coming. I invited all the mayoral candidates to either host a show or be on there. Last week we had Billy O'Day. We're working on Jim McGreevy, James Solomon, and of course we'll go with Joyce Waterman. We'll get them all on here. And like everything on this show, it is toll free to call. I'll open up the phone lines later. But for your information, that would be 855-999-0799. Again, 855-999-0799. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Mayor Fulop. He announced his affordability plan for his campaign for governor. We're going to talk. He's also picked a lieutenant governor. A little sniping going on between the Jersey City mayoral candidates. You got Trump's tariffs. You got North Bergen. Really, North Bergen's pulled up a good deal here with free full-day pre-K schools for pre-K 3 and 4. We'll get into that. Let's break for commercial. Again, you're listening to the City Show Radio. Toll free, 855-999-0799. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. We're back. City Show Radio here. I'm Pat O'Melia, your host. Again, toll free, 855-999-0799. Thank you for listening. Let's go with Mayor Fulop. First of all, Mayor Fulop, Jersey City Mayor Fulop, and he is running for governor here in New Jersey, as we all well know. And he's like in second place right now. And it's pretty. Again, I've known Steve for 20-some-odd years now. A friend of mine. I would like, of course, you'd like to have your buddy as the governor. You can pick up the phone. Hey, hello, governor. But it would be great to have that. But it's truly impressive, friend or no friend, how he has come back. And there was a point where he was like 3%, like either near or last place. And here he is knocking on second place. And depending on the poll, he's like 5 points behind Mikey Sherrill. He's a legitimate contender in this. He's got a legitimate shot of winning the primary. Now, Mikey Sherrill hasn't really come out and laid anything out of what she's going to do with governor, and Mayor Fulop is constantly, like he just did an affordability, how he's going to work more with stay at home. It's on his website. You can go check it out. He's been laying out part of his plan since he's been running for governor, and he's probably the only one that has all these modulars of his platform for the voter to make a decision, become an educated voter. For that matter, I heard a part of a interview this morning on 101.5 with a Republican fringe candidate there, with Eric Scott. That didn't go well for that guy. But Mayor Fulop was on with Eric Scott, I think about a week two. A very good interview. They went on for an hour. They took all the calls, did a good job. It's like I said, it is impressive how Steve Fulop, candidate for governor here in New Jersey, has really come, from the back of the pack. It's also interesting is how Josh Gottheimer, who was like in the front of the pack there for a while, and it's as if somebody grabbed Josh Gottheimer by the collar and pulled him back. If it was the NFL, they throw a flag on it, it'd be like a horse collar tackle. I mean, this guy, he was the man, and all of a sudden, he ain't the man no more. Russ Baraka, the head of everybody. I don't know what happened with Josh Gottheimer, but it's good for Mayor Fulop because he's in second place, as we say in the radio business and record business. He's in second place with a bullet. So he's moving up the charts, moving up the polls. So it'll be rich. I think what he got, like another. It's June, I guess about another, I don't have a calendar in front of me, probably 7 weeks till the primary. So we'll see what goes on there. But pay attention to all the candidates. You want to make an informed decision. Another candidate who came out strong and also basically vanished is Steve Sweeney. But Steve Sweeney, he's got a problem with favorables and unfavorables. He's got a long history here in New Jersey. He's attached to some things with Christie and Murphy that doesn't sit well with the voters. And Steve Sweeney is a good guy, good iron worker, dedicated public servant, just that he's been on the wrong side of some of these issues and some of these initiatives from Christie and the Murphy administrations. And that's a cross he's going to have to bear, and it's a heavy one because he's not making any traction. Now his campaign is vote for a South Jersey guy. That ain't going to work in North Jersey. Speaking of governors, violence in campaigns, violence in politics, it's almost becoming, I want to say acceptable, but it's so noticeable now that we're jaded to it. You're seeing the people who were attacking Tesla dealerships. This locked up a guy who was putting SWAT stickers, scratching SWAT stickers in the Tesla guy at Purple Lips, setting on fire. You hear some comments from protesters. People who were protesting, by the way, when interviewed, had no idea what they were protesting about, but they're anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk, anti-Doge, and anti-tariffs and all that stuff. This guy, they locked him up a couple of days ago. He set fire to Governor Shapiro's governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. I mean, this wasn't set the garbage on fire. This guy's house was on fire. It was an attempted murder here. And why people think, who probably never even spoke to Shapiro, knows nothing about this guy, but for whatever reason, whether it's Democrat or Republican, the acceptance of violence, this has to stop. Now, they're all saying, well, there's a mental problem there. Well, then this guy needs to get some care. Don't take him to court, give him some Xanax or whatever, and put him back on the street. He's got to go away for a while. He needs some help, and that's only in a mental behavioral institution for a long, long time. This really has to stop, the violence in politics. The campaigns are over. Now, whether you love Trump, you hate Trump, you want Trump to be successful. And right now, everything's about the tariffs. It depends on the person with the tariffs. If you're a working guy, you're a craft, carpenter, plumber, electrician, those side of guys that work with their hands, or women who work with their hand, they're okay with the tariffs. It's probably the money people that are the most issues with the tariffs. I go back to the pandemic. Actually, I go back even before that, when I started seeing the effects of our trade imbalance with the rest of the world. You know, I used to be in trailer repair. I used to work for the Transamerica Corporation, and Transamerica was very involved and still is with shipping. A lot of those containers you see are Transamerica containers. And I remember my boss telling me, when you see stacks of containers, there's an economy problem. There's an export problem. And you go down the turnpike right now, mountains of containers. The tariffs, will these work? I don't know. I'm not the money guy. Right now, China and the U.S. Are staring each other down. China's right now going to withhold earth minerals that would be used for magnets and batteries and so forth and so on. China's actually showing what the problem is to us. We have to be able to have access to what we need to be a successful free country. We need to manufacture. I know the previous Secretary of Finance, she said manufacturing is never coming back. It won't come back unless we do something. The more jobs we can bring into the United States, the better it is. The more we manufacture here. You know, during the pandemic, man, we couldn't get medicine. We couldn't get masks, couldn't get we couldn't get anything. Everything was in China. That has to stop. You know, we had a chip shortage recently. We had cars, manufacturers couldn't complete the assembly of cars. Thousands of them were sitting because of the lack of chips, China. That has to change. Problem is, how does it change? Now, in China, I'm not in China. You know, there's child labor, slave labor. You know, they're not paid the wages, anywhere near the wages that are paid here in the United States. If manufacturing comes to the United States, do you want to pay $3,000 for a cell phone? Of course not. So something has to be worked out somewhere along the line, some sort of tax cuts, initiatives, whatever they are. But I think, in my opinion, I think the tariffs are long overdue. There was a tremendous imbalance. You've seen the statistics. You know, we had a tariff of like 15%, and the other country had a 54% one. That's why, you know, you see footage in Europe or China or Japan, that sort of thing. You don't see our cars over there. It's just too expensive because of the tariff. But we have a low tariff. That's why you see them all over here. So there has to be a change for the long term. For your children, my children. You know, I'm 68 next month. You know, I can see the end of the tunnel. I'm waving at it. Yeah, I'm over there. Another 3-4 years, maybe 2. Who knows? But my kids are going to be here for many, many years. I would like this country to be solvent, secure, affordable, and I'm going to ride with Trump for a year. Let's see how these things with the tariffs. Let's see who blinks with China and the United States on the tariffs. 25%, they said, of China's export is to the United States. If that gets cut off, what would it be like if somebody took 25% of your pay? You're going to see that. So hopefully, calmer minds will get together, reasonable minds will get together, and they'll figure a way to balance things out, at least have the same tariff. You know, bring tariffs down, each one do 20%, whatever it is, and off we go. But we do have to incentivize getting these companies back in America, getting them back from Europe, getting them back from China, getting them back from Mexico, getting them back from Ireland, getting them back here in the United States. We got to go hard and heavy into energy. We can't be at the mercy of any other country for whether it's energy or microchips, chips. Everything's got chips in it now. No matter what you touch, it has chips in there. And Elon's got chips that are being embedded into humans with Neuralink. That's giving people the ability to, for movement again. Say what you want about Elon, and he probably have a better personality. But when it comes to finance, if Elon Musk talks, I'm listening. This guy started PayPal, bought Tesla, turned Tesla with the most valuable car company in the world, and his stock just went up like 25%. And now they're talking about investigating who profited from the stock market. If you had listened to me for the last 2 weeks, I'm telling you, buy the stock. If you had the money, buy it. Buy it low because it was going high, and people bought low, and they sold high, whatever they did there, and everybody made money, except for me. Because you got to have money to make money. They don't let you buy stock unless you put some money down on it. But it's somebody profits. Yeah, a lot of people profit. I knew a guy in real estate who was doing all he can to get in the stock market. He was calling his friends who were in the stock market. I got to buy stock, got to buy stock. I'm sure he did quite well. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You'll listen to the City Show Radio here on GGR. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
We're back. You listen to City Show Radio here. I'm Pat O'Melia on GGR. We'll open the phone lines in a little bit. If you're interested, you want to have a say, you want to have your opinion heard, you want to talk about Trump, Philip, whoever you want, that's fine with me. But getting back to the tariffs before we get into the local stuff, I'm going to ride with Trump for a year. I have some experience with Trump. For a while, he owned the New Jersey Generals here in the Meadowlands, back in the USFL days, back in the early 80s. I was a season ticket holder. I was there before Trump. I had great seats, too. I was in the second row, 40-yard line. Great seats. And and it was a good crowd. We probably should have kept the USFL in the spring, but the new owner of the Generals, Donald Trump, wanted to take on the NFL and sued the NFL, antitrust, and he won. Problem is he only got $1 and it triple damages, so he got $3. So he won the battle, but he lost the war. But I'll never forget, we were in a bar, this place, Bridgewater, Club 21, and the news came out and it said that Donald Trump and the USFL had won the antitrust. And for like 10 minutes before you're waiting for the news to start, they give you the rundown. Yeah, these guys are UPS drivers. They're all season ticket holders of the USFL also. They're buying drinks back and forth for everybody. We're talking about General Giant games. I'm on the 40-yard line, second row. It was going to be great. Generals, Dolphins, Packers. It was great. And then it came out that they only won $1. 3 times, and it's tripled by antitrust. I remember this guy, Billy Up, we used to call him Billy Up, because he worked for UPS. He was trying to get the shot glasses back that he bought. He said, you can't do that. It was like the thrill of agony, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. In the span of like 5-10 minutes. Boop. You thought you had it made. I know immediately the USFL was done. But I'll give Trump credit. When he was our owner, he went out and he got the best talent he could buy. The Doug Flutie came in. Our wide receivers, our defense, he built that team. Herschel Walker was there before him, but he brought in a lot. The guy just wants to win. And for that matter, the PR guy back then for the Journals was a guy named Barron, which is just a pen name for Donald Trump, because his son, of course, is Barron, a young guy, tall guy too. He was doing his own PR, doing his own press releases. He was doing a lot of work with the Generals. And then that failed, and he moved on to bigger and better things. For that matter, he referred to the Generals, his ownership of the Generals and the whole situation as small potatoes. But I will say the guy wants to win. I will say the guy should shut up a little bit. He is constantly on TV. He's on TV more than Sheldon Cooper with The Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon's on every channel in syndication. And every time I turn on the news, there's Trump. And he should have a teleprompter, because he's good for those first 2 lines. Then, they should start shutting off the volume. I don't want to talk anymore, because he's going to say something that's just going to piss people off. For that matter, he was talking about the jail, where the San Salvador, is it? Where they're sending the MS-13 guys and all these gangbangers and illegal immigrants. And he would actually mention that, he wouldn't mind sending actual United States residents, citizens of the United States, to that jail. Not going to happen. But I swear this guy says these things just to get people, the media, all jacked up. I swear he does this, because the guy's obviously smart. You don't become as successful as he is being stupid. But he says these things just to get a rise out of the media. I know he was knocking the CNN. I got a problem with CNN also, but and I watch everything, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, and I read everything. But I even have a problem with CNN, so I kind of agree with him. All right, let's get into some of what's going on locally and in Jersey here. Let me finish I'm just looking at my notes here. Some of the platforms that Mayor Fulop was talking about, not the affordability, but it has a lot to do with affordability. Kind of sounds like my show from 2 weeks ago, where he's talking about consolidating school districts. What a great idea, because there's like 565 school districts. And if you remember, it was last week or the week before we were talking about this. Each one of them have numerous salaries attached to it. You have superintendents, you have other superintendents, the head of the Board of Education, deputies, payroll, benefits, health benefits, pension. All of these are attached to every one of those 565 school districts. We don't need that, and you're paying for all of them. That's your tax dollars, part of that school budget is paying for that. All of these 565 school district, just the Board of Ed employees, that could all be cranked down. You don't need 560. You got more school districts than municipalities. You know, we got 21 counties in Jersey, 21 school districts. That's the way. We shouldn't treat a school district in Toms River any different than we treat one in Jersey City. They should all be funded equally, same amount of money for each student. Now, maybe they were talking about property value differences. They're not paying any property taxes, these schools. So don't worry about the property value taxes or property taxes. Schools don't pay that. Everything should be figured out now, each student, how much it's going to cost for each student, and have real numbers on how much it costs. Like I said, my elementary school here in Jersey City, shouldn't cost $58 million a year to operate. That's just one elementary school in Jersey City. It's like $36,000 to educate a kid in Jersey City. I think in Toms River it's $18,000. There's a problem there. So all that has to be figured out. But the main thing is you want to cut expenses. Right off the bat, we got to lose some school districts. We got to lose a lot of school districts. And the sooner you do that, the better we are. You know, you're looking at like Plainfield. They're talking about jacking up the school taxes 36%. Keensburg, 44%. Toms River is selling their Board of Education headquarters right now to plug a hole in the budget for this year. I don't know what happens next year. So hopefully you got another governor in there who's going to take a serious look at how we fund our schools. And I mean the entire budget. I've said many times, I will take the teachers' salaries off the table. My daughter's a teacher. I will take the teacher salaries off the table. Let me look at every other nickel, what we're doing. You know, you want to talk about shared services. There's something where every municipality should get involved with their local school, with shared services. I know Mayor Fulop is doing some of that here in Jersey City with garbage pickup and some of the DPW people and doing painting. Some of that stuff is going on. We have to do more of that. You just can't. You can't have the schools selling off the schools, and that's what some of these districts are doing. We're going to close schools and sell them. That's not the right approach here for education. And then we got to look at how some of these schools survive and thrive. You look at the former mayor of Jersey City, Brett Shumler. I think he's running like 5 or 6 schools in Jersey City, charter schools. He's in the process he's under construction right now, starting construction on a high school and an elementary school down by Caven Point Road. How is this guy thriving, operating charter schools? And not 1 or 2. He's got like, I think about 6 of them right now with a couple under construction. Brand new schools he's building. How is he thriving? And the rest of our conventional public schools aren't. And we got a budget of over $1 billion. We should look at what Brett Shumler's doing and say, how's he doing that? Let's take a look at that. This is a little more local here. Jimmy Mack. Jim McGreevy, I was texting with him over the last couple of days. He had one of his jail programs he was working on today. So I wanted to bring him in and do an interview with him. I want to try to bring all these candidates in. Like I said, we just had Bill O'Day in last week. Jim, and I've offered each one of these candidates their own time on the radio. They can all have a weekly show where they can talk about their platform, they could boost their running mates, they can talk about their ticket, they can talk about all their initiatives, take calls from their listeners, they can campaign away. There's been some sniping going on. Now, Jimmy Mack took some shots at Fulop, the financial situation here and the financial future of Jersey City. It says there's a lot of mismanagement. When a new administration comes in, I always said it's like you sit behind the desk there in the mayor's office and you open that drawer and like a bunch of demons jump out of there. Is there some kicking can? I think every administration does some kicking of cans. They don't have to deal with all these demons at once. Are there demons for the next administration? I'm sure there are. Bill O'Day, I'm sure Bill O'Day can handle what's coming. I'm sure Jimmy McGreevy's got a lot of experience as a governor and former mayor in Woodbridge. James Solomon, he's got 8 years on the council. Done a lot of budgets so far, so I'm sure he's got some experience. Same thing with Joyce Waterman. Masab Ali, young guy, I don't know how much experience he has with that, but he's certainly has a future in Jersey City politics. But McGreevy's sniping at Fulop and how Fulop has handled the finances here in Jersey City. For that matter, Mary, the councilwoman from Ward B, she has resigned, and she is going to head up. She's going to be working with the EDC, Economic Development Corporation. She had some background in that. For whatever reason, she didn't make it onto any of the tickets here, O'Day, Solomon, McGreevy, Joyce, or Masab Ali. But it's probably better, because the toughest job you can have in Jersey City, besides being the mayor, is being a ward council person. But that is truly, when they say, the job is 24/7, 365, mayor and ward council are 24/7, 365. Best job they have is council at large. Nobody knows what the hell you do. Nobody, I'm going to call my councilman at large. No, you always call your council person. She resigned. There's been a lot of talk. Maureen Mullins possibly is replacing her. We'll probably find out Wednesday who's going to be the replacement. I'll probably find out tomorrow. But getting back, Jimmy Mack is sniping at Fulop over his handling of the city finances for the last 12 years. And all of a sudden, James Solomon pops out. And he starts sniping at McGreevy. And he's talking about McGreevy. He had his problems, credit ratings, I think. And let me clarify one thing. I covered McGreevy when he was running for governor against Brett Sumner. So I remember all the talk about having credit downgrades in Woodbridge, and there were credit downgrades in Trenton with New Jersey under the leadership of Jim McGreevy. And Solomon's bringing all that up on how the fiscal mismanagement of the employment and training, if you recall, Jim McGreevy was the head of that until there was a falling out and there was some allegations of improper spending of funds and that, but nothing ever came of that. It was interesting that Solomon was attacking McGreevy. I don't know where Bill O'Day was in this, because this is something Bill would live for. I don't know, Bill must have been sleeping through the whole day. He missed out. He missed out on all that. But he was talking about not stopping the helicopters. But the campaign is starting to heat up. Now they're starting to attack each other. That's why I can't wait for the debates. And we'll produce the debates here for the mayors. We'll bring all the candidates in. I'm telling you, it'll be something to watch with O'Day and McGreevy going at it, and James Solomon. Those three, they'll put on a show. Joyce Waterman and Masab, I don't know if they're going to hang in there with those three going at each other, but it will be must-see TV. For that matter, we should probably start putting some dates together. We're trying to put debates together for the assembly people, but that is becoming very difficult to do. Even the people who should be begging for FaceTime and airtime aren't. So one of the things I'm starting to think here is a lot of these candidates are creatures of the line. They're created from the line over the years. And once you had the line, you really didn't have to campaign much. And I remember we'd be setting up debate. I set up a debate. I set the date. I give you the date way in advance. Occasionally, I might move a debate, but very seldom do I. I don't wait till all the candidates agree, yes, I'll come. Because if you're going to wait for all the candidates to agree to do a debate, you'll never have a debate. Set it. You set the date. You schedule it. You're ready. You debate who shows up. But a lot of these people are thinking they're still mindset back to the line. No, I don't want to do that. Should I have to do that? The people are going to vote for me. I actually had someone tell me who. I don't even see campaigning. I'm gonna run on my record. It's not gonna do you much good. You better be out there knocking on doors. You better be on TV. So I know on the 29th of April, we're supposed to do the 33rd district. I'll be here. Who will show up? I don't know. That's Larry Weinstein, Assemblyman Gabe Rodriguez, Tony Hector. He's running for Assembly out of North Bergen, and Frank Alonso is running for Assembly out of North Bergen. So it's only 4 there. That's okay. When you get into like 6, it gets a little testy when you have that many people talking. All 4 of those people so far, I got the message. Nobody said that they're attending yet. So we'll work on that during the week. But some of these guys are like, you should really be taking advantage of any freaking thing that comes your way if you hope. And I just found out today, I think John Heinous was writing for them, and I think I just texted John that they named a campaign manager for Tony Hector, Frank Alonso, and it's this guy, Blaitler, who was the former chief of police in Union City. And he's not on Mayor Brian Stack's Christmas card list for sure. That just throws more controversy and turmoil into that campaign than was needed. So that even makes the 29th even more interesting as the month transpires here. So keep the date. We'll see what happens there. I hope, I'll be here. We'll be here. The podiums will be set up there. The cameras will be set up. For that matter, we were just testing today. I would like to simulcast our video along with our video productions onto our radio also. So if you're sitting in a car, you're at work, you got your phone, wherever you are, you either watch it or you can listen to it. But we're working on some gremlins in it right now. We never tried doing that before. So that's something we're working on at the moment. I'll tell you what, we're going to break for commercial. You're listening to City Show Radio here on GGR. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights. Your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants. All major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712. We're back. City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here on GGR. Toll free. Toll free to call. Won't cost you a dime. 855-999-0799. That's 855-999-0799. You got something to say? You want to voice your opinion? Got some stories there? Whatever you want to do, we'll take it. In North Bergen, Mayor Sacco and the superintendent there, Joel Stoller, they announced, and this is really good for the people in North Bergen, especially if you're a working mother of working parents, full day pre-K 4. That in the press release that I read, that'll save the average family about $10,000 a year on daycare costs with a full day pre-K. And it's going to be spread out over, I think there's 4 elementary schools in North Bergen. For that matter, we should probably bring George in here, Stoller, and talk to him about all this, find out what schools, get all the rundown on that. And we're also working on a full day pre-K 3 limited to about 60, 70 kids. That's huge savings for the family. So a good move by Nicholas Sacco. And they're going to close the school in Braddock Park for now. What they have, the trailers there, they would like to build a modular school. For that matter, I've been watching a couple of houses being built, modular home construction. I don't know, I got to speak to some home builders. One is better, the normal, conventional way of building a house, or these prefab modulars. But, I seen them bring in these 6 modular units for 3-story homes, have them all in place in one day. And then the crews are just finishing them out. That's what we're working on now. They're finishing them out. I said, man, that went pretty quick. So I assume it's an acceptable, method of house construction. But I'm paying attention. Every time I ride by, I stop for a while and look what they're doing. But they want to build a modular school in the park. They're on like an acre of land there. And Braddock Park is like, it's big. It's a big park. It's not as big as Lincoln Park in Jersey City, but it is a big park. So they got like a postage-size stamp of space there. And they've been there for about 20 years. I can't think of a better location for pre-K than a park. I'm in Jersey City. We should do this in Jersey City. The problem is we just don't have that many parks. But it would be great if you can have, a pre-K school in Berry Lane or in Lincoln Park, or the good-sized park. You don't want to put one in on the smaller stuff like Mosquito Park or Leonard Gordon Park. I know somebody would say something. It's Leonard Gordon Park. Tell you a quick story about Leonard Gordon Park. After 9/11, when everything settled down, about a year after, I was working with Glenn D. Cunningham, and we're trying to recognize the volunteers, all these people that helped. And it was really chaotic for a while, trying to get the supplies and all the help that was needed here and there. And there were some mistakes here and there. That sort of stuff happens. But there was a tremendous outpour. So many people gave their time, efforts, money. I remember people dropping off supplies at the Lowe's Theater and getting trucked down to the waterfront. So I spoke to Glenn Cunningham about saying, maybe we should name Mosquito Park Volunteer Park, and recognizing all the volunteers from 9/11. And Glenn looks at me, I couldn't do that to Lenny Gordon. Looking at Lenny Gordon, what are you talking about? He goes, Mosquito Park. I'm talking about Mosquito Park. No, it's Leonard Gordon Park. He looks at me and goes, Amelia, you don't think they really named that park after mosquitoes, did you? I said, that's the only name I knew. I didn't know about Leonard Gordon. I knew it all my life as Mosquito Park. So I left Glenn that day, and sure enough, Leonard Gordon. But actually, they did a lot of renovations on that park, by the way. I really can't see him from the outside, and my knees are like shot. I really got to get these things replaced. But I had that stent put in my heart. Now the cardiologist is saying I have to wait till like August or September before I can get the knee surgery. So I don't know if I'll be walking on my hands if I wait that long. And they're dragging me into the studio here in a wheelchair. It's a big studio, big building this place is in. They didn't do anything with the Bears and the Buffalo. They didn't even sandblast it and paint it. They probably aren't bad. They're probably squirrels, but there's so many coats of paint on it, they look like a bear and a buffalo. Every time I said, what? That would have been the first thing I did. Let me sandblast these two and paint this so as you ride by. Hey, look at that. The bear and the buffalo look great. Oh, it looks as crappy as ever. We're getting back to North Bergen and modulars. I don't know how I got off that. They're going to be out of there for probably the year. Actually, I told these guys that you should do something in there. Because, once you leave, hard to get back. Only what was that, De Niro? Was it De Niro? I was out, then they pulled me back. No, well, it's going to be hard to pull you back in there. Once you're out, hard to get back in. So I'd keep something going over there. I don't know if it's night classes or whatever the hell it is. I'd have something in there so you have some activity. But they're planning on doing the modular, and I cannot think of a better. Again, North Bergen's a small town. I think it's like 80,000 residents, 90,000 residents. You can do that for a small pre-K in that big park there. And then September in North Bergen, they're opening up the new junior high school. I think it's 7th, 8th, and freshmen are in there. Is that what the kids were saying?
6th, 7th, and 8th, and then next year is freshman.
Oh, so this September, 6th, 7th, and 8th, That's where the old high tech was on Tunley Avenue. I had these kids in there. I teach studio production to the North Bergen high school kids. So this year it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And the following year they bring in the freshmen. They bring. But that school is opening up September. For that matter, I think we're supposed to be going in there. We're going to film that new school. We'll bring our gimbal cameras in, all our cameras. I'm going to take my drone camera, fly it through the place. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Also, I'd like to get up to the Garidi Justice Center and go fly around through there also. You got to do a strategy because these are big buildings. You got to set it up. You got to have Group A, Group B, Group C, and get to the site, and they all go out there and start filming. But North Bergen's got a lot of things going on. So that new school, the new pre-K, saving you about $10,000 a year. Oh, one other thing. North Bergen, Union City, they just had the high school ratings, and Union City did real good. They had the Monty, Monty is it? Manty? One of Brian's schools up there. Marty School. It was 17th. That is pretty damn good for an urban school there. 17th. McNair, I think, was 18th. Good job there by Brian Stack and his educators to have a high school, the whole state. It was like 17th. Jose Monte, am I pronouncing? What? Monte, yeah, that's the school. I was checking out this morning all the schools that we deal with and all the schools that I know, and I seen Union City. Good job there by Brian. And Brian, very big on education. He's managed to have a lot of schools built that didn't cost the people of Union City a buck. Got the state to build them all. Good. That's why I had never had a problem with the dual office holder. You be a mayor and a senator, a mayor and assemblyman, not a problem. I seen Joe Doria basically rebuild Bayonne as a mayor and an assemblyman. Glenn Cunningham, when he got to Trenton, he was bringing home the bacon for the 31st District. Nick Sacco and Brian Stack in Union City. He brings home that bacon. There's a lot of bacon going on in Union City and a lot of bacon going on in North Bergen there. Got a lot of repositioning. Good move by the high tech, by the way. You can free up space in all the elementary schools, but I caution you people in North Bergen, have some activity in the Braddock Park School. CarePoint in Jersey City. CarePoint actually in Bayonne and in Hoboken also. They have emerged out of bankruptcy with Hudson Regional Hospital in Secaucus taking over the operation of all 3 CarePoints. That was just announced a couple of days ago. Jan Moshe is the head of the Hudson Regional Hospital. They'll now be operating all 3 of them. And he's got a big job to do there because Christ Hospital needs a lot of rent. What I'm hearing, now again, this is just the rumors we're hearing, and I hear everything. Have a sip of water there. They're talking about demoing Hoboken Hospital and building a new one across the street from there. I believe there is some property they could get their hands on to do that. Probably very expensive property in Hoboken to buy, and what do you do with the land that Hoboken's on? Keep in mind, the Jan Moshe guy who runs the hospital, very successful, is a developer, a real estate developer. So he knows how to get around and buy the property at the right price. The interesting thing, you still have some ownership issues with the hospitals. Gentleman Avery owns the property under Hoboken Hospital and under Christ Hospital. I believe Jan Moshe owns the property under Bayonne Hospital. This game of shells has been going on for a lot of years. Hopefully, this all works out. And the 4 hospitals now, Hudson Regional, Bayonne, Christ Hospital, and Hoboken University Hospital, will all be under the Hudson Health Systems. That works out for me. We already have a show called Hudson Health that we do medical. Works for me, not a problem. Hopefully this all works out. I'm hearing with Christ Hospital, they want to demo that and build a much smaller version of Christ Hospital. But knowing the whole history of the CarePoint hospitals and my limited knowledge of Jan Moshe, this is not done yet. Nothing is done yet here. I could see downsizing Christ Hospital. Let's demo that and build a smaller hospital. along with a bunch of townhouses on the cliffs there. I think we rezone that. I'm not sure that's possible for that to happen. But I can see that, yes, it'll be the medical village where we'll have it anchored by Christ Hospital and surrounded by townhouses and condominiums. I could see that in somebody's mindset saying, that's how we're going to make some money here, people. But let's see how this all plays out. I know the state has approved everything so far, but approvals can be taken away. But hopefully for Hudson County, it is successful. Like I said, I think it's like going with Trump. We need Trump to be successful for all of us to live well and prosper, so we can have money again and we can smile. It was a tough 4 years under Biden. CarePoint, we need the hospitals. The Jersey City Medical Center with RWJ is constantly building on that complex, and for that matter, they just took over in Union City what was the Sanitas, where the old Sears was, which is now called the Kennedy Center. I still know it as the old Sears because I'm old. That's how I know there was an old Sears there. I'm pretty sure if you look up there, it probably still says Sears and Roebuck somewhere on the top of that. For that matter, that's where we'll be producing a show with my high school kids, a medical call-in show, English and Spanish. We'll be doing it there. I think in Observation Room 149. For that matter, we've got to get some more furniture. We just picked up some new furniture for the radio set here, trying to make it a little easier and a little lighter to move things around. But hopefully, CarePoint works out, but certainly RWJ is moving forward to take, they got a lot of urgent cares, primary care centers throughout Hudson County. So we shouldn't be shouldn't be wanting for any medical. And we should be if you have medical issues. A lot of people run over to New York for medical operations or treatments. You got some very good doctors and hospitals here in New Jersey, which was the reason we came up with Hudson Health. Governor Murphy, I think he had a kidney issue. Now, he's the governor of New Jersey. Where did the guy go to get treated? New York. So that's where I came up with the idea of Hudson Health, where we would showcase all the hospitals that we have, at least in Hudson County. And as soon as we did that, CarePoint went into earthquake. Everything got shaky over there. So we lost CarePoint for a while, even though those are the guys doing most of the pilot work. Right now, RWJ is pretty much monopolizing the Hudson Health show, which is good. As long as we get the information out, it's doctors you watch today on TV, doctors you could see tomorrow. You're getting good information from these doctors on various treatments. It's a good show. For that matter, we got to start promoting that a little bit better. All right, listen, we're going to break for commercial again. You're listening to City Show Radio here on GGR. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panepintodevelopment.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. We're back. You're listening to City Show Radio here on GGR. I'm Pat O'Melia. Got about 10 minutes left of the show. I'm sure everybody's aware there was a awful helicopter crash in the Hudson River. Family of 5 perished, and the pilot of the helicopter. And reports, I didn't realize the water was that low. For whatever reason, the chopper broke up in air. Yeah, the civilian footage shows the rotor flying away and the body of the helicopter upside down. You see the tail section further to the left, and it smashes into the Hudson River in a depth of 5 feet. So there was no water cushioning any kind of blow there. So prayers go out to the family. But, you know, that is like, in my lifetime, the 4th accident on the Hudson River. Now, back in the 80s, a news reporter, I think when NBC, yeah, because I think she was reporting on Imus in the morning, Imus's show. And she's a news reporter, she's doing the traffic, and there's an issue with the helicopter. And the audio from her, because she was live, as I recall, she's saying, aim for the water, aim for the water, aim for the water, aim for the water. No, they hit the water, but none of them survived. Jane Nordecker, back in 1986, like I said, I think she was reporting for Imus in the morning when that happened. Then you had the Miracle on the Hudson, which I got to tell you a story about after the Miracle on the Hudson, where fortunately nobody died. Sully managed to land the plane with a bird strike. Now, they're talking about the helicopter might be in a bird strike here. It must have been one, was a pterodactyl up there? They could hit a blade like that? That's that little Canadian geese hit that rotor and knocked it off like that. But then we were at Union City. Brian Stack is dedicating the new pool complex there on Palisade Avenue. And we're all up there, and we're hanging out by the edge, and the pool complex is right on the cliffs there. A small plane and a helicopter collided over the Hudson River, and everybody scattered because a lot of these guys were cops, OEM, and it's just amazing that this happened again. This wasn't too long after the miracle on the Hudson there, and now you got this one. You know, and people are talking about the tourism. Tourism's been around with these helicopters forever. I don't have a problem with tourism. There's a heliport in Kearney, for that matter. Bill O'Day, Commissioner Bill O'Day, candidate for mayor of Jersey City, Bill O'Day, is calling for the Kearney heliport to be closed. That might even be on county property. I'm not sure of that. I don't live on the waterfront. I'm in the Heights. I occasionally see the helicopters going back and forth. Are they allowed? They probably are, but again, I'm in the Heights. I'm pretty far away from them. I would not want to see an entire industry closed down. Now, I assume these guys are doing the best possible maintenance, and you got the best possible pilots. The guy that was flying the helicopter that just crashed, I think it was an ex-Navy pilot, so he got a lot of experience there. Is it the case of, your numbers up kind of thing? You hope not. We'll see what the investigation is. They were talking about a bird strike. It had to be one hell of a bird. But getting back to the Miracle on the Hudson, when that happened, I was producing a television show for County Exec Tom DeGeese. And Tom's guest that day was Jack Burns. Jack Burns was the head of the Hudson County OEM, Office of Emergency Management. And when you're in the studio, once the cameras roll, first thing we yell is silence, quiet on the set, turn off your phones or put them on silent. So Jack puts his phone on silent, puts it in, back then we had the green room there. And he's doing the interview. Well, Sully lands the plane in the Hudson. And like every law enforcement or rescue operation is looking for Jack Burns. But he's being interviewed by Tom DeGeese, and his phone's on silent in the green room. So the show's a half-hour show. So show's over. Jack's BSing with us a little bit. He goes in the green room, gets his phone, and he gets his phone's got like 180 messages. Jack answers message. All of a sudden, Jack is fuming. There's a plane went down on the Hudson. Nobody had touch with it. Get phone out of me on silent. He went out of the studio. I'm like, what was that? The plane crashed in the Hudson? Is that what he just said? No, now we're all getting on our phones to find out what happened. Boy, was he pissed. But everybody was looking. He's the head of it. So now, from now on, if it's somebody important of that nature with that kind of job, they have a second person with them that can hold their phone and have it on vibrate. So if there is another horrible accident like that, at least we can get to the rescue people on the scene. But it all worked out. The ferries all went over that time, private boats. Everybody went in there and rescued who they could. And thank God nobody got hurt that time. Unfortunately, this time, a family of 4 and the pilot passed away. This week, as I mentioned before, I'm teaching high school kids video and radio production. We got the GGR radio here now, and we just had a suggestion on where we should probably move our high school radio station to. This week I went down, I put a deposit on a Ford Transit van. I've been looking for a little van for the program for a while. I want something, small enough that the kids can handle, big enough that it will be our control van. We'll have radio equipment we can move in there. We'll have our video equipment. I'm going to get a set of shelves in there. For that matter, I got to get some measurements. Hopefully none of these things are deeper than 13.5 inches. But there's a nice shelving setup that's made to go right in the van with a depth of 13.5 inches. I've been looking for vans, for these GMC Astro or Chevy Astro van or the Transit van for, I guess, maybe a couple of months now. When I was not looking for this, they were literally cutting me off with for sale signs in the window. Soon as I needed one, I couldn't find them. I'm knocking on people's doors as he had them out front. That's this guy, attic staircase place. Guy passed away. I'm talking to his wife. Oh, it's a shame that he passed away. Did he take care of the van? Do you know? Trying to find out. And I didn't really look at that yet. I'm like offering her money for the van. And she goes, well, I got these two vans. She did. She had like two St. Bernards. I think I might use it to take my dogs to the vet. And I'm looking at the van and said, if you change the oil all the time, she was a tradesman. He probably took care of the oil all the time. She said, well, I'm not really sure. Well, she didn't call me back on that one. So I finally found one that only had like 54,000 miles on it. So I'm looking to take it a test drive. I'm going to take it tomorrow and bring it to my shop. Yeah, I'm a car guy, but I'm not a car guy with all the technology, and you got to plug all these things in. Yeah, it rode good. Everything seemed fine to me. So if all goes well, we're going to buy this. I put the deposit down, and my kids will have a nice control vehicles when we're out doing high school sports or covering the baseball or football or groundbreaking. We'll have a piece of equipment that can get out on the site, do the job, and if it's wet, the kids would still be inside doing the video switching or the switching on the mixers. But let's take our last commercial of the break. You're listening to GGR here radio on, what's the name? The City Show Radio on GGR. I'll get it right. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one path stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
All right, we're back. You're listening to City Show Radio here on GGR. Like I said, tell your friends. Download the live stream. No, it's not live. Live 365. We do have a live stream service in here. Live 365. Download the app. Put in GGR, and you're good to go. But there's a ton of other programming on Live 365. All sorts of music genres in there. So you're downloading it. It'll work out for you. It'll be a lot of entertainment, more than just me. Again, I offered all the candidates a weekly show here. I was texting with the two guys that can do a weekly show, and O'Day will do one, is Bill O'Day and Jim McGreevy. If anybody was made the host of a radio show, it's Jim McGreevy. The guy is truly that silver-tongued type of person. All right, we're out of show. You be good. You be safe. Don't forget, we have our shows up on YouTube, all our radio GGR shows. So you can go to YouTube, put in City Show or Tom Rivers Show or Shore Show, and you can listen to us. We're out of show now. You be good. You be safe. Good night.